All right, let's get started. So this is the reorder paragraphs number 2. We're on number 2 right now. And let me scroll down here. As you can see, when we're dealing with the reorder paragraphs, I can only zoom in one time. How come it's not zooming? Let me try it again. There you go. One time. Because if I zoom in more than one time, you won't be able to see the whole thing on one screen. Okay, I'll have to scroll up and down, but that wouldn't be good for you to follow along. Now, speaking of following along, you can actually maximize this screen, right? You can maximize the video so you can see the screen. And if you have another monitor, you can even open the reorder paragraphs, and we can do this together. So, what are we looking for? The first thing I always check for is the trap, right? Because if I find number one, I'm not getting any points for that. All I care about is getting some points. So I'll make the pairs first, and then I'll see if I can put the thing in order, right? So let's go see if we can find some traps. The very first sentence right here. Whoa, what do we have here? We have, over the last half century. That itself is not actually a time reference. This is not a time reference. What is it? This is actually establishing the overview, the entire time. So that tells me that they're going to be talking about something within the last 50 years, or something in a span of 50 years, because it says last half century. So it's the near 50 years, right? So let's see if we have any more that refer to time. Now, when they say that, though, it's usually the first sentence. But we'll come back. We don't care. It's already in the first part anyways. The next one right here, I'm going to put an arrow here. You see the as a result, and it has a comma? Maybe I'll put the comma this way so you can see. When you see that comma, you know this ain't going first. That's not even a trap, okay? That's not something I'm looking for. I just know I'm not even going to consider this to be number one. Most of the time, it's probably last, but that's no guarantee. The only guarantee is that this ain't going first. All right, so let's go to the next part. The next part, ooh, look at that. Look at that. These systems. When you see these systems, what question are you asking? You're asking, what systems? What systems are you talking about, right? So we're going to check for that. But before we do that, let's look for some more. It was a time. There you go, right there. That's your time reference. It was a time. Why is that a time reference? Because now you're asking, what time was that? It was what time? So we're looking to see if we can create a pair that way. And then lastly here, in the late 1900s, there you go. That's a time reference. And as you can see, throughout every single one of these sentences, they never specifically mentioned time, a specific point in time. So when this right here says it was a time, what time is it? It's the late 1900s. There you go, right there. So I'm going to switch these two. There you go. Now we have our pair. I'm sure these two are stuck together. This is going to be my +1. Okay? So now let's look at the next one. This one right here, like I said, this is probably number 1. I'm not really concerned about that. This one's not number 1. I want this. I want these systems. So the question is, what kind of systems are you talking about, right? Now, for sure, remember this is a pair, right? So you know you're not looking here to see if we can create a pair. Why? Because we already have a happy home. Why would we want to break up a happy home? It's not going to be in there. So you're not going to look at this sentence or this paragraph to see if we can find these systems. So let's look up here. Over the last half century, organic farming has become a driving force. Nothing really meaning a system, okay? Next, as a result, some people believe it is now time to reassess many companies in terms of standards. Nothing really. I don't really see anything there that refers to a system. All right, so I'm not looking at this. And then last one here, it was a time when managers had to take a critical look at the aspect of their production process. There you go. Production process, I believe that's what the system is. Wow, so we got our three. So how am I going to do this? I got to put the systems below. Okay, so let's move this up. Okay, there you go. Done. So you see how this, it was a time, it's referring to the 1900s, and then these systems are referring to the process. Now, if these three are connected together, then we can't put this in between them, right? We can't put it in between them. So this is either gonna go on the top or on the bottom. What do you think? That's where do you think that's gonna go? Top or bottom? It's gonna go bottom, right? Because it says as a result. So it shouldn't be in between any of these paragraphs. So I'm gonna put as a result at the bottom here. And this one right here, like I said, this is most likely gonna go first because this establishes the timeline, 50 years. So once they establish that timeline, they establish when they're talking about that specific time. And then this refers back to that specific time. This this reflects back to that process, the system. And then this is just concluding, I'm assuming. All right, so let's check it out. Oh, there it is. I hope that makes sense.